happy to come through and be able to share this conversation with you. Honorable, good evening.
Good evening, Emma.
Yes, how are you?
And good evening to our dear listeners. Good evening.
And so we think this particular space offers a kind of avenue to people, a space where people can be able to listen in on different thematics. So we are very excited to have you.
Thank you.
Yes, so we're going to just dive in because in a way we can't even have a president because people have been waiting for a long time. So we just dive into it so we can have a conversation straight away. But before we have the conversation, I want to advise you in case you have any questions, in case you have any comments, please do not fail to share them on Twitter, share them on our YouTube channel. Please just share them so we can be able to ask them. The conversation will be between Honorable and I. Of the opposition in a parliament like ours, and when I say parliament like ours, I mean a parliament where the ruling party has more members than the opposition, where we have almost three times the number of the opposition. What is the role of the opposition in delivering policy and also causing change in such a parliament?
Thank you, Emma, and to our listeners. I think Article 82A of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda is the one that talks about the opposition in Parliament. And then the administration of Parliament at Section 6B is the one that stipulates the role you have smeared Vaseline, or maybe you have beautified yourself. You may never walk out without looking at yourself in a mirror. What is the essence of you looking at yourself in a mirror is to see, is there anything wrong, so that I correct it before I get into the public. That is just the role of the opposition in Parliament. So in a parliament like ours, I would expect that those in government would listen attentively to what the opposition has to say, because this is the mirror that corrects them, that tells them, look, here you are taking us in the wrong direction. If they were,
I think one of the problems we're having right now, even the impasse from the opposition itself when they say we're living in parliament at the moment, was because we're not heard about the human rights violations.
yeah.
So how do you respond to a government that's not willing to listen? Because I feel like even if you're willing to share what you think is right, but they're not willing to listen, then it becomes hard. So how do you break that ground of a government that is very intolerant to other conversations from other players apart from those within it?
What Ugandans should know is that when we went into a multi-party dispensation, it was something that President Museveni was forced to do.
Yes.
He was not willing. who are forcing us to free the space and bring in multi-party dispensation. They are saying they will not give us their money. So just for the sake of having money, let us open space for multi-party dispensation. So initially, even when we pride ourselves of being a democracy that believes in multi-party, we don't actually have the political will to ensure that multi-party politics functions as it is supposed to function. That is why you will have a leader of the opposition, yes, in words, or you have the opposition with a shadow cabinet. Was that Zake abused a female legislator, so it was an issue concerning women. But the same did not happen. I didn't see the women on the NRM side, for example, walking out when the female legislators were denied the opportunity to celebrate the Women's Days. This was a women's faction. Yes. Women opposition legislators were denied the opportunity to join their constituents to celebrate Women's Day. Yes. The women walked out, the women marched. I expected that women from the ruling stereotypes of a member of the opposition is an enemy of government, and that is what Museveni has taken him to be. Now, the recent issues that happened in Parliament, where the leader of opposition is saying, no, I think enough is enough. We need to first account for our people who have been tortured by the state, a state which is supposed to protect its people. But the state is the one torturing people, is the one abducting people, people are missing, and the state is not bothered. Unless we hear communication from government, we can't continue sitting in the house. Yeah. The opposition MPs have done. Because now government is forced to talk about it. Yes. Even when they are talking about it in kind of in a derogatory manner, but they are talking about it. So something is being done. The first time the leader of the opposition with his team talked about the abscess, mistreatment, and violation of rights of the opposition politicians, every person was saying they were brushing it. No, they are bringing numbers of people who don't matter. They kept saying, you know, these people say, Emma of Kawende, anybody can be Emma. To know where their children are, who need to know where their fathers are, who need to know where their husbands and wives are. So, for example, we just imagine it is the work of the opposition. It is unfortunate. We expected much from a government that should be listening to the people that it purports to be representing. So, even when in silence, or even when they have walked out, they have forced the government to talk about
it.
And the world is listening, even anyway, that is why we are even talking about it now, because it has become an issue of national concern. Why is the opposition out? Even when the government will brush it off, but it is an issue that we are talking about.
Preempted what I wanted to ask about after. You seem to suggest that it seems like you are agreeable with what the particular MPs
100%.
Yes, but I want to about that. I mean, creating a bad precedent that every time the state doesn't listen to us, then members of opposition should walk away. Do you think that is the right way to go? That anytime we fail to have consistent conversation, then the best thing to do is for the opposition to move away? Would we have a lot of such incidents happening in the future?
By the way, in modern democracies, it is allowed.
It's acceptable.
It is acceptable. And I am telling you that even members of their right to associate, their right to life and freedom, they are violating these rights. Colleagues in the area are saying it's okay. If it is okay for them, okay, let them continue deliberating. While those who feel, they feel for the people, go out as they wait for government to make a decision or for government to come up with a lasting solution to the murders, to the torture, to the abductions. It is too worrying.
Okay. I want to ask my last question about Parliament before we move to another topic. And this almost all sides of the divide have accused the other of doing that.
Yeah.
You find members of the opposition accusing the state and through the leadership parliament itself, that is the speaker and the speaker saying that bastardized sometimes conversations in parliament. You also find people in government accusing particular members of parliament from the opposition side, for example, Honorable Zaki, and saying these people have become hecklers and they're not really keeping up with the decorum. My question is around how would you rate this particular parliament? How do you rate its leadership, also the members in that? Do you think that we are moving away from a sane parliament?
They made a mistake, then they better correct those mistakes. But the other issue is that every parliament, I've been in parliament for 15 years. I was in parliament for 15 years. But I realized that every parliament was getting worse. Every parliament was getting worse. I'm not so sure that the next one will be better than the one that is in. For the 3 consecutive terms I was in parliament, every parliament was getting worse than the other. What is the reason? That the attrition rate became higher. As I speak currently, almost 60%, over 60% of the any orientation, leadership orientation or some kind of mentorship. We are lucky that some of us, when we came to Parliament, had gone through the district council. I was a councillor for 8 years. I had gone through trainings of forwarding. I had gone through trainings of leadership. And so, majority of them might not have been as lucky as I was, or a few other leaders who came before me. And therefore, it means a lot of attention needs to be paid to a parliament at the beginning of the term. Two weeks, where 2 weeks of intense orientation will start from morning to evening, from morning to evening, from morning to evening, telling us how parliament looks like, telling us what to do, where you can find support, where you can find what, who is responsible for what, and who does what. They will bring us experts to come and speak to us. I remember at that time, the Honorable Cecilia Owal had lost an election, but she was among the senior legislators who came in to mentor us. The Honorable Miriam Patel came in to mentor us. The Honorable Salamu Musu was get into those spaces. It's like they have arrived at the top of the world. They are not ready to be better. They are not ready to be guided. It's like they have reached the top. So that is problem number one. They don't get to understand that understanding an environment that you are joining is very important. Yes. So some of these issues, when they happen, I ask myself, I think here, a member is lacking guidance. Here, a member is lacking a touch. So I would encourage that when Parliament begins, members should be taken through some orientation, vigorous orientation, and I call upon the partners that support us to keep supporting leaders at all levels. You never know, the councillors in their districts will become the next members of Parliament. You never know, those young girls and young boys in their secondary schools may end up being the next members of Parliament. So support them. Any young person who shows up some leadership qualities and interest in leadership, let the civil society pick these young souls, train them, mentor them, so that we can have leaders who are prepared to take on leadership. And so I'm proud to be associated with the Alliance for National Transformation because it believes in nurturing and growing leaders for tomorrow.
Yes. Our last one, simple question, I think before we move on to the other, very question is personal for you. What do you think was your best moment in Parliament in the 15 years that you were there? What do you think was the moment that you can sit back and say, maybe that
government decided to come and attack the People's Chamber, sent in the army, beat up members of Parliament. I would say I enjoyed the moments we went out to the Ugandans during that moment. We went out to the Ugandans to consult them. And the Ugandans said, don't change the constitution. Even members who said yes, their constituents had told them, Don't change the constitution. That is disastrous. I enjoyed those moments to get the views from the Ugandans, but I said it was tough. At some point, we also walked out. So I really feel a walkout is that sometimes you walk out, you go and reorganize, and we come back more solid. And I want to thank the team that we were working with at that time. I also thank Ugandans that were with us at that time, because we moved as a country. We moved united. It is only some members of parliament that let us down to really touch the constitution against the will of Ugandans.
Okay, thank you very much, Emmanuel. I think for me, the discussion on parliament is very important, because I am a debater, and when we're young, give a speech, and you showed up to join our his return. And I think most of us Ugandans also we join in the joy that the broadcasters felt when the king was able to come back, because I think tradition and culture are things that are very important for us as Africans, regardless of age or even regardless of where we're coming from. My question is in regards to first of all, how did the people of Kasese feel about the return of the scene, and maybe you'll be able to relay that emotion better for us also now?
I think I would like to use this space speaking to government after the attack, after the killings, and we thought the government would listen. But our people were incarcerated for over 6 years. It was actually this next month we will be making 7 years. I still call it 7 years. The king was under house arrest. Those that he was arrested with, some of them were set free during the campaigns. I think they wanted to use it as a campaign tool.
Yeah.
You know, someone kills your people, arrests you, tortures you, dehumanizes you, humiliates you, and then says, give up your freedom, apply for amnesty. That is one thing that hurts majority of us who understand. There are those who think, well, whether he applied for amnesty or not, we don't care as long as he's back home.
Yes.
So those were the mixed them to court, we hear the case, government brings its evidence. I think along the way, government had no evidence. So when they lacked evidence, all they had to do was to continue imprisonment him until they proceeded to surrender their freedom, their innocence for freedom. So they surrendered their innocence for freedom, and finally they are home. We, as the people concerned, it is not only the people of Kasese, the Bahira in Congo, the people in the Rwenzori region, Bujo. The relationship of all cultural institutions. I remember when the king was arrested, it was Uganda Kingdom through the Prime Minister that first issued a statement. And when he came home, he reorganized that and thanked the Uganda Kingdom establishment for standing with him. I saw many cultural leaders saying an attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. We had meetings with cultural leaders, and during this time, I was asking them, can you go and convince the president so that he
follow-up question on that, because when I listened to you, you seemed to be a bit disgruntled about the fact that there were some rules on Kasese in 2016.
Yeah.
Do you believe that the return of the king then offers a healing process? Is there justice in that? Where is healing starting from Kasese?
I know that the return is part of those steps that can be done to bring him. Such a young soul who has dropped out of school because the parent was killed, because the parent was taken to jail. How do you explain to a woman who was thrown out of her husband's house by some relatives after the man had died or after the man had been arrested? So there is still a lot to do to speak the souls and minds of the people. Maybe through the justice mechanisms that we have, the transitional justice mechanism can be one of the ways through which they still feel disappointed, they still feel unattended to.
Yeah.
And indeed, nobody has attended to their needs. Nobody has listened to them. They have not been allowed to speak out about what happened to them. And so, not giving them sufficient time to speak out, to talk about what happened, to talk about how they feel, and possibly to see that there is someone who cares, something will still remain inside their hearts. So they may remain silent, and we may think all is at peace, but genuinely, people are not peaceful.
traditional leaders who have a lot of sway, because almost every traditional leader is loved by their people.
Yeah.
What is their position in transforming this country, also in the civic direction of this country? How do they use their position as traditional leaders to change this country?
You know, traditional leaders are very, very influential people in the areas where we are, most especially the areas that believe in them. They are constitutionally here, and so we have to give them the space that they deserve, even when they have Africans, we believe in the spirit of Pan-Africanism, we believe in the African culture. We have already started talking about the spirit of Africa, the African spirit. We believe in our cultural values, but we are forgetting the people who are the custodians of the cultural values and norms. They are the traditional leaders. So they have a lot of role to play to ensure that our people are brought up in appreciation of their culture, and to ensure that people are prepared to transfer problem that I see now is that the current leadership of President Museveni only appreciates a cultural leader who moves according to how he wants them to move. He has put them in some corner where he moves them at will to do his work. On coronation, he will go there, give them cars, put them here, then say, hey, you know you are not supposed to do political work. But when he's doing politics, you will see assumption that the country leader would have supported the opposition. So if we can give them time, if we give them the opportunity, they have a lot of work to do, and they can participate in the transformation of their communities. They can participate in bringing up citizens that will take us to the next stage where we want to go. Because I know there is no culture that talks about people who drink. All cultures want to bring up
already who believe in them and therefore, by extension, they're doing something of politics.
Yeah, because they also want to have followers who are healthy.
Yes.
So I know where my cultural leader, for example, has encouraged people to take their children for immunization. I still remember how the cultural leader had to sign that no child from Rwenzururu Kingdom should be married before the age of 18. And these are some of the issues that government is talking about. So in a way, they have worked to promote the government programs. Recently,
You can also choose to have a conversation with you. You can share a question on Twitter, which also open up our Twitter. People that can want to ask questions later, later on. Also, you can put up your questions on YouTube, and then I think they will pick it up and be able to ask the same to the Honorable. I want to go back to one more last time, the difficult issue of the ADF. Because the last 2 months, also we've had a number of attacks by the ADF, but this is what the state has relayed to us, that the killings of the students as you give your take on that, I want you to first factor in the fact that the state has offered amnesty to those that are part of the ADF recently, that if you're willing to come through, they are willing to forgive you for the past wrong. So how do we find a solution for Kasese as a nation as a whole, because ADF also operates in the entire nation?
I think the people of Kasese have had really rough time. ADF was first pronounced in Uganda in 1996. That's when they entered from Congo. The massacres that were committed to our people, the burning of the vehicles in Kasese town, they have caused a lot of atrocities that we really can't forgive the ADF for. However, the way government has also handled this matter is something that leaves us worried as a people who stay at the border and as people who are always affected by the ADF. The recent killings, we have a lot of questions to give to government. When the students were attacked, even deal with it. And to our disappointment is that even when these attacks happen, government has never come up with a report. Every time there is an attack, yes, the first victim is ADF. Whether it is ADF or not, we just take it in a blanket way, it is ADF. But we don't understand why government keeps talking about ADF and they can't reprimand them. Now, the other attack that the ADF could have gone through Kasese that has been under surveillance for all that time and is still causing mayhem. We still demand that government brings up a report that tells us really what they have found on the ground and what they are ready to do to secure the lives of the citizens in Kasese. The other unfortunate matter that keeps us wondering is whether it is not an economic sabotage. securing over people, and I can even say maybe back then CDF entered Kasese, we have been in a state of panic. We are in a state of hand to mouth. People can't save. People can't take their children to school. People can't find money for medication. So as we try to recover, then boom, something happens. Then other people are asking, should it happen again when they have released the people? How come that before? We have more questions than answers, and we need our good government to really give us answers. Let them style up, let them provide leadership and defend the people of Kasese. Because I know that we are rated high in terms of defense. We are going to Somalia, we are going to South Sudan, we are in the Central African Republic, we are everywhere. We can't provide security for our own people. For me, that's what
a follow-up question in that conversation, because I tried to highlight the idea of them as state wants to offer amnesty. We know that it has been argued that amnesty weakened the LRA when some people came back and therefore the force was weakened over time. Do you think that the new of amnesty towards the ADF maybe in the long run may weaken the force, and then also, first of all, if it's weakened, then means we cannot have as many attacks on that. But also, do you think people are willing to be more acceptable and willing to take in these rebels in the community?
for us as Ugandans. And I think that was the spirit in which the amnesty law was made. I would really encourage that those who feel they can apply for amnesty, they should apply for amnesty and drop the guns so that we can have peace. We need a peaceful Uganda. We need to live in peace. We need to live in harmony. But also, President Museveni should know that some of these people choose to take up arms because he has closed more of the doors that they would have used. You can't close the door and then you go on closing even the ventilators that people would have used for. What will have happened? So let him allow people to use their available civil disobedience mechanisms. Let him open up political space so that people can be free to associate, can be free to canvass for support, can be free to participate, and ensuring that we have quality, free and fair elections. Elections that people will believe in. Himself, he knows that he went to the bush to fight an election that went bad, and moreover, he was not a participant. But some of us have communities understand them. Some of these people were abducted.
Yeah.
They did not willingly take up arms. They were forced into rebellion, maybe situations forced them into rebellion, like in 7 is about to force many other people into rebellion. So if they feel those circumstances have been sorted, or they feel they want to give up rebellion, let them come and benefit from the amnesty offer that has been given to them.
Thank you very much, Honorable. I want us to go to our third segment, which is about opposition party organization. And I'll start with the question that was asked by someone, a question around the FPC, not the FPC per se, but we have a question about the FPC, but a question about whether you'd be willing to go back and work with Dr. Kiiza at A11. The question was especially in a way that looking at the fact that for the years from the former gen and now, and how the party is struggling with the people.
We are all for the same cause. And so for me, it is not an issue that is between me and Dr. Messenger. I have no issue with him that is personal, that can stop me from working with him. We are all agents of change. So all of us who are for change, we work together on agreed upon issues. If the issue is to go on the streets, we shall find ourselves in the streets. If the issue is let's agree on candidates, we shall but I'm already a member of the maybe it's welcome in Alliance for National Transformation. Yeah, I'm already in a political party.
Yeah.
So if for him he feels he's dissatisfied with what is happening in the FDC, he's welcome to the Alliance for National Transformation. And there we shall still work together.
Okay.
If he's doing another political party, we shall meet along the way as partners, as the agents of change, as strugglists. Yes. We shall still meet and continue pursuing the agenda that thinks about himself and his family first before they think about the people they represent. And I think it was no surprise, I'm sure, when President Museveni says he is not a servant of anyone and he works for nobody but his children and his grandchildren. So to us in the AAG, that is not what we work for. We work for Ugandans and we want to be servants of the people of Uganda. And so my good friend and old mentor, Dr. Kiiza is welcome.
Okay. Maybe okay, I have two questions, but let's start with the question about this point. having some kind of whether this big impasse?
I think where they have hit their beyond advice. When these squabbles started, I advised them, and we were at a platform of the front line. I advised them that they had made a mistake to bring their issues into the public domain. These issues would have been settled in the party, but because each one of them wanted to really shout hard and loud, the things were the narrative had gotten money from President Museveni. So there is no way you can be facilitated by someone you want to fight and you think you'll still be in the same line. So this other team said, for us, we can't continue like that. I think we better give it distance. They wanted to recapture the state in the FPC, which I think they have not been able to do. But I wish them well. I really wish them well. I was head on.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, in case you have a question on Twitter, please request for the microphone, and then the host will be able to allow you to ask a particular question. It's in case you want to speak, please just ask for the microphone, and we'll be able to take in your question. We'll have like 5 or something like that in case they are available, and then yes. Yes, Honorable, I want us to talk about, so please, you can be asking for the mic as we go through this particular question. If there are any, we'll just take them all after this particular question. At the two positions where I usually looking presidency, but also at the MP elections. So do you think that the vehicle we are using, or the means we are using to achieve that particular end are sufficient? And can you also maybe help us elaborate on how those particular things that we're doing, those means how they look like?
You know what Ugandans fail to understand? That it's not easy, one, to build a political party. It's not easy. Also a party that believes in time management. Now, some of these values are values that we want Ugandans to be with. And we know that there are Ugandans of that caliber. Ugandans of that nature are there. So what we are doing as a political party? In the short term, yes, we were looking at changing leadership at the time we contested in the campaigns. But in the medium and long term, we are looking at galvanizing support. And being a country which believes in the motto for God and my country, that we should not put our God aside. We should actually glorify Him more. Many people want us to go shouting. Those are values that you can't impart into people while shouting. You need to go slow, plant a seed, water it, nurture it, see it come up. And then before the world knows, we shall have this team of solid Ugandans, and they are there, by the way.
Yes.
Journey is a journey that we believe in. Many people were surprised that we were not bothered that we didn't get MPs. We are not bothered because we know we are building. We are able to get a district chairman. We are able to get 47 district councillors and mayors. So Ugandans believed in our values and our issues. By the what that time we had not even moved. Because when we started as a party, then COVID. The ANT gets into leadership, you will see the real transformation that we talk about. Many people may want to just remove 70 and so what? We want to have a change of leadership, yes, but also a change of the way things are being made. Currently, there is a merger of the state and all state institutions to the hands of one. You go to Parliament, when you will see the seed that the ANT has planted. So that is the journey that we are taking. We are taking it slowly and steadily.
Okay. There's also another question, and this is specific to you, an individual, also the alliance.
Yeah.
The person says, how is the progress of ANT so far in our constituency and our district, and what is she doing that other members can replicate wherever they're coming from?
Now, when we started the ANT, we had an agreement amongst ourselves that this is just part of our values.
Yes.
That we believe in tolerance with fight there. But now that there is already disjointed opposition, because these pillars that are at the headquarters are also in the districts, then the ANT can begin to take the message of values and the messages of now planting. If people want to learn from what we are doing, we can actually tell you the areas where we have planted and where we think. Let's take you to Terego, for example, where we have a district chairman. We can take you to Sembate here. But the destination is the same. So at that time, we were not in a hurry to train in Kasese because already Kasese was fired up. And for it, by the way, it has just been 7 forever. So that is not a question you should say, what are you doing in Kasese? You know, we are already doing work under a sister party.
Yes, maybe the follow-up question on that. Do you think that there's a general appreciation that political parties with that kind of culture are trying to develop a culture of saying
And I can tell you, I think we are working on it as opposition political parties. That is why you see us starting some constituencies. We even go to support individual candidates who are not necessarily ours. Like recently, when we had a by-election in Serene, the National Unity Platform went full gear to support us. When there was a by-election in Hoima, actually the ones who were manning the Hoima by-election were members of the ANC. We had the chairman of the order, we had the Kasule Ismail. They were the ones who as to whether we can't have a mechanism that brings some of us together. And I want to say that proudly to us as Alliance for National Transformation, we are not in any confrontation with any political party because we believe in the peaceful resolution of conflicts. It's one of our values. So where there is a candidate of another sister political party, we need to first resolve that conflict. If we must put there a candidate, then we have to find out whether that particular candidate of the sister party is doing badly. They caused the change with their leader at the top, then it will be them at the top. Well, for us, we believe that even if it is ANT that has had a leader who has gone through, we should seek to work with others who have of the same, who are of the same mind.
yes, true.
And my conviction is that all of us who are seeking for change, I really should have the same mind.
Yes. Maybe two more questions before we end. There's a comment that was made about the power, yes, to build them.
You know, good governance dictates that institutions work separately for purposes of creating checks and balances. That when Parliament passes a resolution, the executive should pick it up. When someone feels aggrieved, then should go to court. And that the laws passed by Parliament, court can freely interpret it. And until you access this big video, then you will not be sure and certain that your job is guaranteed. It is the reason currently that for you to be recruited in government, people first want to know whether you are yellow. They have told the people to first confess that they are yellow, then they are given jobs. That is why many judges will tell you I have to first appease the president, prove that I'm a candidate to get the job. Now, as we are saying that we are dealing that is how they got the job. You first get the job, then you go and study. You learn how to do the job. So those are the things that we as ANT are saying never again to. We believe in meritocracy as opposed to who knows who. And when you do that, then the services delivery will always be sure, because people are placed in positions where they qualify.
Yes,
they are qualified. About institutions that believe in the capabilities of all Ugandans, that believe in merit as compared to the current situation where there is a clip that came out was big shadow in WhatsApp. Some students who are studying oil in some country, the names came out and then they were meeting the president, and they were all from the same region. So we kept asking, is it the only region that is concerned about oil issues? Unfortunately, there was no massacre, there was no beer, so I can sufficiently talk about because you support the system, but because you are in Uganda, you pay tax and you deserve to be served.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it needs to bring this conversation to an end. The questions we've had. There's two people have been requesting, but I've tried to approve, but things are refused. They're not getting the max. I don't know why. But maybe as you end, your parting shots, but also I think you can encourage people on how they can be able to engage with the alliance. How can people participate actively? How can they contribute?
So it is important that we keep it as safe as we can, all of us. It's our duty. It's our duty that we participate in the management of this great country. When it goes bad, we all know. The Bible tells us that when bad people are into leadership, the people suffer and they grow. But they rejoice when good people are in leadership. I want you to be part of this change that we are seeking to have. And we want you to be part of country, even where we don't have leaders. At least we have leaders who are elected.
Yes.
At least we have coordinators. And in many of those districts where we don't have leaders who are elected, most especially the districts that had yellow, we had candidates who were contesting there as ANT candidates. Approach them, let them register you into the political party. Everywhere I go out there, many people keep asking me, we want to be members of the Alliance for National Transformation. You can contribute to the party through the office at your district level. So yes, then we also empower the coordinators to read the list of the sub-county coordinators, because we have sub-county coordinators in all the districts. But in the meantime, go to our website, you will find how to join the party and how to become a member. We have cards that you can even buy online. You can even support us online. Go on our website, you'll find all those available. But in the meantime, join the Alliance for National Transformation and be part of the transformation agenda that Uganda seeks to have. Because we have formidable leaders, we have women and men who are committed to making Uganda a better place for all of us to live in. I thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. I don't think I can add anything to that. I think that's been well stated. Just put out the post around change, the post around the Alliance for National Transformation, and please just reach out to us through all the means that the members put up there, please. And thank you very much for joining us. And also we'll be back.